Hello my darlings, my name is Lulu and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a luxury products worth the hype. In the beauty industry, products are hyped up pretty much every other week and a lot of them really don't deserve the hype that they get. So today I'm going to run through a list of products that I really do think are worth the hype they get and very much deserve every bit of it. So to start off with, the primer I was going to talk about, I've run out of. And then threw away by accident. Clever. So that primer is the Box Primeriser. It just is the most beautiful kind of mix of moisturiser and primer. I find that it gives my skin such a glowy kind of plump, almost like drink of water look to it without making my skin overly greasy. I have combo skin, so I sometimes on my cheeks am very dry, but in my centre of my face I do get very oily, and it still manages to not emphasise that and keep my skin balanced all day. So I do really love that, and it is on order and will be back with me soon, much to my joy. Two foundations I want to talk about. One is fairly old and one is fairly new. Both have had massive hype around them. The first one is this, which is the Hourglass foundation stick. I have the shade Blanc, which, if I'm being really honest, is a bit too yellow for me, but I can make it work. I love this. It's got a beautifully creamy formula. The texture is very easy to blend. My favourite way to apply this is to actually put it on in little dots all over my face and then blend it in with quite a dense brush, something like this, which is the Expert Face Brush by Real Techniques, and then take a damp beauty blender and really bounce all over my skin once I've blended it in with the brush, and it gives just the most beautiful finish. As for skin types, I personally think you could probably wear this no matter what skin type you have. Unless you're incredibly oily, then you may struggle because it may move on your face a bit because it's so creamy. I find that it doesn't cling to any of my dry patches, and in my T-zone, which does get fairly oily, it still stays in place, and so overall it is one of my favourite foundations of all time and very much worth the hype it gets. The second foundation is this, which is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation. Now this is fairly new to market. Since it's launched, it has had so much hype. There has been everyone and anyone talking about this foundation, and for 90% of it, loving it. And I'm one of them. I absolutely love this foundation. It could possibly be my all-time favourite drugstore foundation I've ever used. It just has a really nice formula. It looks natural on the skin with still giving coverage. You don't look like you've got a thick layer of foundation on your face, but yet everything's covered you need to. But unless you were looking really close, I genuinely don't think you'd be able to see this sitting on your skin. It just looks lovely. And as for the finish, it doesn't really have like a radiant finish or a matte finish. It just looks like skin. Now for concealer, you can't not talk about Tart Shape Tape when you're talking about products that have been hyped up. It is probably one of the most hyped products the beauty community's ever seen, but it is beautiful. The coverage on it is just to such a high level that very few concealers can kind of match that. The only kind of downside with this product for me is it is a little drying, so if you have dry under eyes you may struggle with this because it will emphasise that. However, if you have got very dark under eyes, I would definitely recommend this. My under eyes are very, very dark, and you can't even see on camera how dark they are most of the time when I've not got makeup on because of the beauty lights. They really do look very, very obvious in person, but this does a brilliant job of covering them and very much is my saviour when it comes to not having much sleep and my under eyes looking the worst they get. Now a powder that is worth the hype has got to be this, which once again, a bit like Tart Shape Tape, probably has had some of the most hype around it in the beauty community, and this is the Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder, and as everyone says, it's a beautiful product. The powder is so finely milled and so easy to use that it just looks flawless on your skin. Personally, I find that because it has a slightly yellow tone to it, I struggle if I'm my palest, because I've got such a pink undertone to my skin, and because this is quite yellow, it can look a little bit dark on my skin. So if I'm at my palest, it's really kind of a no-go. However, the rest of the year I use it, love it, and swear by it. It is one of my favourites and always has been and probably always will be. Next product is this, which is the Ambient Lighting Bronzer by Hourglass. This one is in Nude Bronze Light. But really, it's just all Hourglass powders. They all have massive hype around them and they are all beautiful. The powders have such a finely milled texture that is so soft and smooth when you put it on your skin that you can't really see where the powder stops and where your skin starts. I don't really think you can get much better when it comes to powders than Hourglass. They are ridiculously expensive, if I'm being really honest, but the quality is just so high that although it pains me slightly, I am willing to pay the price. For anyone that doesn't want to pay that amount for one product, I would definitely recommend checking out one of their palettes that they come out with. This one is the Ambient Lighting Edit Volume 3, and it just is kind of perfect tester. I mean, in this one you have 2 finishing powders, one strobing powder, a bronzer and 2 blushes, and it really does give you a good overall view of the products, and they last so long that, I mean, I've had this for a year, over a year now, and as you can see I've not really made a dent in it. I use it all the time. It's one of my favourite things to travel with, so definitely check their palettes out next time they come out with one, because I know that the individual powders and things are very expensive, but I definitely think you get your money's worth with the palettes. Next product is this. Now this is a mini, but my big one's over in the drawer, and this is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector. Now I have mine in Moonstone, but I mean the most hyped ones are probably Opal and Champagne Pop. However, when you're as pasty pale as me, they don't work. I have to be tanned for them to work on me. However, glow wise, I love Moonstone. I think the way they sit on your skin and the way they give such a kind of glow, it's not shimmer and it's not glitter on your face. It is just pure glow. I've actually got the liquid version on my cheek at the moment, and I use this in both liquid and powder and love it in both. They just are beautiful, and I find that I can make this look very, very kind of diffused, but also very, very intense, and it is just one of the best highlighters in my opinion. Now, one of the most hyped eyeshadow palettes definitely has to be the Marc Jacobs eyeshadow palettes. Now this is in, I think this one's Glambition, yeah, this is Glambition. It is one of my favourite eyeshadow palettes. They blend so easily, they are so smooth, and they've got such a buttery texture that it just means that blending them is so easy, and it just makes any look like you spent a lot longer on it than you really have. Other eyeshadow palettes that are massively hyped have to be Miss Natasha Denona. In fairness, I think pretty much everything from Natasha Denona is massively hyped. However, her eyeshadow palettes definitely come on the top of that list. Now, her palettes once again are ridiculously expensive, and probably too expensive actually. And I definitely recommend getting her mini palettes because you get the same quality, you get the same formula, without having to pay the kind of astronomical price that you do with her big palettes. Yes, Natasha Denona is very, very pricey, but it is also very, very beautiful, and if you can afford Natasha Denona, I would definitely recommend it. Now, lip products. Charlotte Tilbury is massively hyped once again, and the Pillow Talk just line in general, but the Lip Cheat, which was the original, is just still massively hyped, massively famous, and massively used in the beauty community. And there is a reason. It is the most gorgeous shade, and the formula is just beautiful. It's not too waxy, so it doesn't leave a kind of harsh line on your lips, but yet it's not so creamy that it moves around and smudges. So it really does have that kind of perfect in-between texture, and the colour is just the most beautiful kind of pinky nude that makes your lips look really natural, and it's not obvious when you overline your lips with it, which is just perfect. So that is all the products that I think are worth the hype. There are so many more that I could have mentioned. If you want to see another video like this, please do let me know, and if there's anything else you'd like me to film, please do write it in the comments below. It was lovely talking to you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.